Deep within the shadowed heart of the Amazon, where the canopy swallows sunlight and the rivers whisper secrets older than time, there exist creatures that defy everything we think we know about nature. They don't roar for attention. They don't appear in glossy wildlife documentaries. But they kill silently, efficiently, and without explanation. Venom that science still cannot fully decode. Hunting methods that seem more myth than biology. And survival strategies so strange, they've left researchers stunned and speechless. These are not the predators you've heard of. These are the ones science still fears to name. Tonight, we journey into a world where danger doesn't always come with fangs or claws, but with silence, mystery, and an intelligence we barely understand. Welcome to the Amazon's deadliest secrets. 1. Hidden killers, the lethal creatures few have heard of. The Amazon doesn't roar. It whispers, and it's in those whispers that death often hides. While most people think of the jungle's dangers in terms of giant anacondas or the bone-crunching jaws of black caimans, the truth is far more insidious. Some of the deadliest animals in the rainforest are not giants, they are small, silent, and often invisible until it's too late. Deep under the carpet of rotting leaves, clinging to tree bark, or lurking beneath the surface of still waters, these hidden assassins wait. A frog smaller than a matchbox carries venom so potent that a single touch can stop a human heart. A caterpillar with soft bristles holds enough toxin to cause internal bleeding and kidney failure. A spider, no larger than a thumbnail, injects a venom that causes the skin to rot away in necrotic agony. And they're not in cages. They're everywhere. What's most chilling is not just their lethality, it's how little we know about them. Many of these species are poorly documented. Some don't even have formal scientific names. They exist in whispers, in blurry photos from frightened researchers, or in half-recorded radio calls that cut off in static. Scientists venture into the jungle armed not just with knowledge, but with fear, the kind of fear that comes from knowing a single misstep could end everything. Some locals speak of creatures no one has ever caught, creatures whose touch brings hallucinations, paralysis, or even madness. Are these just legends? Or are they warnings we've ignored too long? There's something profoundly unsettling about a place where nature's most dangerous weapons are wrapped in beauty. Brightly colored frogs gleam like gemstones, a fatal invitation. Delicate butterflies hide larvae with bristles sharp enough to pierce skin. Even the flowers are not always innocent, some host colonies of biting ants that swarm in coordinated fury if disturbed. In the Amazon, the line between wonder and terror is thin, often invisible. What looks like paradise may be a minefield of poison and pain. And perhaps that's the true heart of the jungle, not a place of monsters, but a realm where nature has perfected both elegance and execution. Where creatures don't chase you with fangs and fury, but wait unseen, untouched, unknown. It's a jungle of ghosts, of killers wrapped in silence, of death that wears no face. And long after the screams fade and the campfires die, the forest remains. Watching. Waiting. Alive. 2. Unsolved mysteries, behaviors and attacks that leave science speechless. There are rules in the animal kingdom, predictable patterns of predation, defense, reproduction. But in the Amazon, those rules collapse. Every so often, something moves in the shadows that defies understanding, something that challenges not just survival, but science itself. How can a frog kill 10 adult men with its skin alone? Why does a fish the size of a pencil dart up human orifices, causing unimaginable agony and internal damage? What kind of evolutionary logic creates creatures that seem designed not just to survive, but to torment? The Amazon is a stage for biological enigmas. Take the patu, a bird with eyes that glow at night and a call that sounds like human wailing. Its behavior mimics ghosts, motionless by day, appearing only in eerie flashes at dusk. Or the bullet ant, whose sting isn't just painful, it's like being shot, with pain that lasts for 24 hours, complete with trembling, nausea, and temporary paralysis. But why? What evolutionary benefit justifies that level of suffering? Even now, entomologists debate whether the pain is a defense or something stranger, an evolutionary relic, a biological accident, or a form of communication we don't yet comprehend. Then there's the matter of coordination. Insects in the Amazon don't just react. They plan. Leafcutter ants build underground cities with air conditioning systems. Army ants march like living rivers, devouring everything in their path with a coordination that seems almost military. And yet, no central leader. No voice shouting commands. Just instinct so advanced, it behaves like intelligence. Are we seeing hive behavior, or something we haven't begun to classify? Some phenomena are even more disturbing. Locals speak of fish that change color depending on who is watching them. Plants that appear to move locations over days. Trees that release scents not to attract, but to repel, with chemical signatures mimicking fear pheromones. Scientists return from expeditions with footage that refuses to replay. Devices malfunction. GPS trackers lose signal without explanation. The jungle is not just alive, it is aware. That's the feeling many researchers confess after long nights in the field, that something is watching them and choosing not to act. Yet, despite decades of study, the Amazon remains the most biologically unexplored ecosystem on Earth. New species are discovered every week, and for every creature we name, another slips into the undergrowth, escaping classification. Some biologists believe we're only beginning to scratch the surface of the region's evolutionary experiments. Others are more cautious. They warn that not all mysteries are meant to be solved, and that in our thirst for knowledge, we may awaken things best left alone. Because in this place, nature doesn't just survive. It experiments. It hides. It waits. 3. When the hunter becomes the hunted, chilling encounters from deep within the Amazon. It always starts the same way: a rustle in the leaves, a splash in a still stream, a silence that arrives too quickly. In the Amazon, danger doesn't make grand entrances. It arrives like breath behind your neck, like the moment before lightning strikes, invisible, electric, and final. For centuries, explorers, scientists, and locals have ventured into this living labyrinth. Some return with stories. Some don't return at all. And those who do speak of a terrifying truth: in the Amazon, humans are not apex predators. We are intruders, often the prey. There's the story of the herpetologist who tracked a new species of amphibian into a flooded cave and emerged 2 days later, delirious and bleeding, with no memory of what had happened and no frog in his samples. There's the tale of a biologist who accidentally brushed against a velvet worm and collapsed minutes later from neurotoxic shock. Even trained survivalists speak in hushed tones about the eyes, nocturnal glows that stalk from treetops, watching, measuring, judging. It wasn't an animal, one man swore, it was something else. It let me leave. These aren't legends spread by tourists. These are confessions from seasoned researchers with nothing to prove and everything to lose. The Amazon plays tricks on perception. Days bleed into nights without warning. Sounds don't echo right. A scream can vanish into foliage like it was never made. Some report being followed for hours by something that never shows itself but leaves fresh prints in the mud behind. Others recall dreams that feel too real, too specific, visions of creatures no one's documented, yet which appear, perfectly described, in indigenous lore hundreds of years old. A venomous bite is understandable. But what do you do when the jungle itself seems to target you not out of hunger, but out of defense or curiosity? Perhaps the most haunting stories are those that have no ending. A cryptozoologist who vanished from a canoe mid-sentence during a radio call. A drone operator whose footage showed a dark mass rising from the river, footage that was accidentally erased during backup. Or the photographer who swore he captured a wingless bird walking upright with glowing red eyes, and who later withdrew his entire expedition report, citing personal reasons. These are not easily dismissed. They echo through scientific communities, whispered over late-night campfires and locked lab doors. And so we must ask, are we documenting the Amazon, or is it documenting us? Is this rainforest simply a reservoir of biodiversity, or a living intelligence with rules we don't yet understand? One thing is certain: the jungle doesn't care who you are. Not a scientist. Not a soldier. Not even a god. It has seen more than we will ever know, and it forgets nothing. Here, knowledge isn't just power. It's risk. So if you ever find yourself deep in the Amazon and you feel something watching, something waiting, you're not imagining it. You're being measured. And if you're lucky, it may let you leave with a story or a scar. In the depths of the Amazon, not everything that kills announces its presence. Some creatures remain shadows unknown, unstudied, and untouched by human understanding. Long after the expedition ends and the cameras turn away, their stories continue in the silence of the jungle, in the stillness of the water, in the flicker of unseen eyes. These aren't just animals. They are nature's unsolved riddles, proof that the world still holds mysteries far beyond our grasp. So the next time you think we've discovered it all, remember, the deadliest secrets are often the ones hiding just beneath the leaves.